Our first subtitle for today is The Causes for War. And for a second, we're going to set aside the issue of slavery, which is undoubtedly the main issue that leads to the Civil War. And we're going to look at some of the other causes for war, or some of the other extra things that are driving the North and South to a final conflict with each other. Now, first, we have the North favoring tariffs. This is an issue of economy between the North and South. Indeed, most of these issues have to deal with the economy of the North and the South. If we remember from before, tariffs are taxes on imports, meaning taxes on goods that are brought into the country. Most commonly, these were protective tariffs, which were used to protect the industry of the North. By this point, the North has industrialized quite a lot, has a lot of different factories and production centered in northern cities, and placing taxes on other goods brought into the country helps the North because the North then can produce goods, and those goods will be less expensive than the ones coming in from other countries, so people will hopefully buy more of them. However, they hurt the Southern economy because the South did not have industry, so they had to buy from elsewhere, and usually that was shipping from overseas. Railroads were another issue, although they certainly wouldn't have gone to war over them, but the North was more connected to the West because they had invested in building more and more railroads and transportation networks. And the South is meanwhile still trying to compete for states, and they do not have the same kind of railroad network. So they think that the North is trying to steal those Western states from them and populate them very quickly with anti-slavery abolitionists who would settle and make the state a free state rather than the South adding another slave state. We'll see on another slide in just a moment that the North has about twice as many railroads as the South at this time. Now, this all generally falls under a divide between North and South. The main divide there is the economy. Goes back to that age-old debate between industry and agriculture. So, can you remember who started that debate? It's way back with Jefferson and Hamilton. So Hamilton being the one driving industry and Jefferson wanting to focus on agriculture. That debate is still very much present in the country, and we can see that each side kind of ended up with the North or the South. Industry in the North, agriculture in the South. And these two ways of life are clashing with each other at this point. And that is the main issue that comes into play here. That revolves around slavery. So the South is in debt to the northern banks because the plantations cannot run as efficiently, and so they need kind of a constant supply of extra money. And of course, the slaves themselves. The North has no need for slaves, and so more and more the North is driven to the anti-slavery side into wanting to get rid of slavery because it's a moral issue. So the main thing here is the difference between the North and South economy that ends up driving them to clash together.